This is Jerry Mason, the Kickin Lawyer, and I'm inviting everyone to join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. on the Kickin Lawyer fan page on Facebook for Law Talk Live, where we discuss business, politics, current events, and the law. If you miss the live version, you can watch the playback on YouTube or listen on your favorite podcast platform. Jerry Mason, the Kickin Lawyer. We're live for Law Talk. Yay! It's going to be a fun, romantic, exciting Law Talk. I have these lovely, almost newlyweds over here we're going to talk to. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to us across social media platforms. Podcast is available on Spotify in audio form. We're also on TikTok. You can go to the TikTok. There's legal advice, fun videos. I'll twerk on there for you, whatever makes you happy. And Covington Comic-Con is coming up August 20th and 21st. It's going to be at the Covington Civic Center. If you're interested in tickets, you want to be a vendor, anything like that, just go to covingtoncomiccon.com and we'll help you out. We want to thank our longtime sponsor, Michelle Allen. If you're trying to buy, sell, rent real estate, she'd be glad to help you out. She's your go-to for this area, and that market is huge right now. And then Mason's High Octane Martial Arts. If you want to become a black belt or a kicking lawyer yourself, you can go there for some training. It's masonsmartialarts.com. And the Cellar, which is located in Covington. And I guess apparently we're doing Mason Night digital marketing. That's
My
okay.
bad.
That's okay. The Cellar, located in Covington, it's a restaurant prohibition bar, open every day at 4 p.m. Also a brunch on Saturday. And then, of course, we got Mason Night digital marketing. If you need help, Josh will help you out. So to joining me today, we thought it'd be interesting to have this law talk because I have my son, Austin Mason, and his fiance, Mackenna Phillips. And Mackenna and Austin are getting married this weekend. So how about that?
Yay.
So probably one of the most stressful weeks in your whole life.
Yeah.
Close.
Today. Not only that, but y'all are doing all the big things. You just graduated college.
Yes.
You just got a house. Austin's officially first night, was in it last night.
Yeah.
You're getting married this weekend. Then you got the honeymoon immediately after that. You're starting a new job immediately after that. Austin's looking at law school this fall. I mean, that's like all the only thing bigger is a baby, but that's going to be down the road, I'm
It's a
guessing.
while.
Yeah, it's going
It's
to be
a
down
while.
the road.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's okay.
It's going to be down the road.
Well, so let's do this. Let's talk about the wedding. I'm
Okay.
curious on your perspectives on the whole wedding process, right? So Mackenna, how has because let me preface it. My vision as a younger feller was that young ladies, a lot of young ladies, especially around here, are raised with this like Prince Charming idea of a wedding, right? Like literally from a little girl, you're thinking about the wedding.
Right.
Was that the case for you?
Ish. I mean, I think that as you get older, some things change a little bit because you're no longer daydreaming. You're a little more practical in some decisions. And so I always knew I wanted a big wedding. I wanted something to kind of feel like a party, a lot of family. We both have really big families. And so like that's something that I've always wanted and that we're doing. But as far as just like, oh, this is my dream dress or this is my dream venue, no. I mean, I kind of just go with the flow. I'm indecisive too. It's hard to make a decision. So.
Well, then fast forward from what you thought it was going to be like planning and then doing the wedding. What has been, give me pros and cons. What has been like, oh, this was much easier than I thought it would be. And then what's been like, man, this was much harder.
Planning it with somebody else can be difficult because you disagree. I guess I just didn't realize how many tiny details, like like you have to think about every little thing. And then again, like I said, I'm kind of indecisive. I probably shouldn't have been in charge of as much as I was. But I guess the hardest part is thinking about like all of the little things and like an itinerary and I don't know. That was I didn't anticipate being stressed about all of that.
Y'all didn't have a planner, right?
No.
So who's been the biggest help? I think I know the answer. But
My mother.
That's who I figured.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Regina.
The wheel does not turn without her.
She is a queen. She's kind of taken on a lot of my stress, which I feel guilty for a lot because I want her to be able to enjoy this experience. Like her daughter's getting married. And so like, I want her to kind of sit back, but she has an eye for detail and she enjoys kind of micromanaging. That's the polite way. And so she's just a lot more organized, and she knows what to do, what to expect. And then again, she's been married before, so she knows how weddings are supposed to go. I have not.
You say before, she's still married.
Exactly, yes. But she's had a wedding, so, I haven't. So I'm like, I don't really know what we're supposed to do here. So, yeah, she's been our biggest help.
Good. Well, that's good. And that's who I was going to say, too.
Yeah.
I kind of knew the back wing. I figured she was the one doing the most of it. So, Austin, your perspective on, of course, you've been basically useless, but pro and con.
That's not true.
Pro and con on the wedding planning thing.
Pro, you're getting married. Cons is, there are the things you don't anticipate having to discuss, and then there are the unanticipated, scuffles between the two of you that you don't anticipate. So just being kind of a pro would be the symbolism of the day, the importance of the day. The con would be losing focus on what that day means and why you're doing it, and kind of allowing certain things to get in the way that are, in the long run meaningless.
Well, why don't y'all both answer that question then? Because I'm curious. So Mackenna, your parents are still together, and they're wonderful, amazing people. Greg and me are just besties now. He's going to come back on the podcast. I have a lot of respect for your parents, and obviously raised an angel. So we're definitely getting the better end of this bargain in our family. but saying that,
I don't think so.
Austin, of course, which is I'm obviously very proud of Austin. He's a wonderful man, very good Christian man, high morals, very intelligent, very talented. So very proud of both of you. However, Austin's mother and I got divorced,
right?
And he was little, and so I value marriage. I mean, obviously, I got remarried, and even at the time, I like to say that I did. But I'm curious on your individual perspectives, like why get married? What does it mean to you?
That's really deep.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you go first.
I mean, I've always not dreamed of marriage, but like the union of somebody. I get lonely. Not that your wife is supposed to be the cure for your loneliness, but like I can't think of something in my life that I could do that is not enhanced by Mackenna being there, So everything I get to do in this life, I want her to be there with me. I want her to enjoy it with me and experience it with me.
That's very romantic.
That's why I'm getting married. I think.
Yeah.
Is that a good
Yes,
answer?
I think it goes beyond codependency too. Like you want a partner, you strive for somebody to kind of share your life with. And so at a certain point when you find that person, like you said, like they make everything in life a little better. And so like perspectives that I have, he has a different one. And so like we just come at it from two different angles, and sometimes that's for the best. And I think that's kind of the beauty of this whole process, is that you are taking two people and kind of blending that together. So marriage is important to me because I do think that I am better when I have Austin to help make decisions with and stuff like that. So, and I love him. I want to share all of my experiences with him. So.
Well, that was kind of the next question I was going to ask. Who's going to get all deep?
Yeah, we're romantic.
So why? We'll ask you first, Mackenna.
Okay.
Why, out of all the humans on the planet, you're a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
You're very talented. You're constantly. You're one of those people. I always talk about. You have people in life that are energy vampires, and then you have people that are like energy batteries that give people energy. And you're definitely a battery. Like I feel more energized around you. You make people happy. So my point is you really could have anybody you wanted, realistically. That. So why this one?
That's not true. That's not true. I guess.
Awesome. That's why.
That's kind of deep. Kind of to go back what I said, I guess, like, I can't picture, like, going and doing anything or making a decision or being a part of something without him there. And so once you come to that conclusion, it was just kind of obvious. It was like, this was the one. And then, like, to take a more spiritual route, I feel like the Lord has somebody planned for everybody. And so just having that confirmation spiritually. But I don't know, Austin and I balance each other really well. And I think that was something that I was looking for, too. I didn't want to be overpowering in my relationship because I think I'm chatty. I think I have a stronger personality, a more boisterous approach, I guess. And so we kind of level each other out. I didn't want to run over somebody. I didn't want somebody following me around like a puppy because they're introverts. No offense to introverts, but Austin and I kind of balance each other out at certain social events and stuff like that. So that was important to me too, was to have compatibility in that regard. But
These are all very practical answers.
Thank you. I'll save the sappy ones for the wedding day.
Okay, yeah. What about you, Austin? Why Mackenna?
Well, first of all, she came out of nowhere. I mean, I didn't see her coming at all. Just came out of nowhere, and then I've never met somebody that, like you said, just enhances everything like she does. Like everything I get to do, I'm always like, well, if Mackenna were here, it'd just be better. It would just be better. If I'm going to buy a couch, I'm like, well, I wish Mackenna was here to help me buy this couch. It would just be a more pleasant experience, and she just personifies what it means to be a good partner. Just I can count on her. Where I have pitfalls, she fills up those holes, and she's just a good partner. Just a great example of what it means to be a wife and a life partner. And
and when you're kind of like, I guess for a female too, like you're thinking about like somebody to build your life with, to like, you know, build a home with and like have kids with. And so like the maternal instinct in me was looking for somebody who would be like a great dad, like strong father figure and stuff like that. And so that was, again, a practical answer too.
No, they're all good. Those are all good answers. And I mean, I think that, you know, I think really for any relationship to survive, it has to be built on, it has to be multi-layered. You can't just be, oh, they're gorgeous. That can't be the basis, because beauty fades.
Right.
You know, or what if they're in a car wreck and something happens? I mean, you got to have somebody that, you know, there's more layers to it than that. So that's good that you guys are thinking through all that. So let me ask you this. And I'll start with you, Austin, since we start with Mackenna, the last question. So when did you know this was the one?
Well, that's a hard question. Like the date?
Yeah,
or like,
the
Well, I
time,
just
the
mean, like-
specifics.
I just mean, like, when did you think, oh, yeah.
You just like drew that conclusion.
I mean, probably probably like 6 months into our relationship. It wasn't like an instant, like, this is it. This is the end all. Be like, I love at first sight or whatever. Obviously, I was initially attracted to her, but about 6 months in, I was able to analyze and observe, you know, how she is who she is and why she is who she is and how she carries herself. And I think it takes about that long to be able to realistically
Come to that conclusion.
conclude who a person is when you're with them. And I was like, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. I've never seen anything like her in my life as far as a partner to somebody. Like I've never seen somebody treat, you know, somebody so well as I thought I was, you know, being treated. Still to this day.
Thanks.
Still to this day.
What about you, Mackenna?
I knew immediately.
Immediately?
Yeah. It was zero hesitations. I was like, I don't know why. I guess initially, like, you do have a physical attraction at first, like, and then you were singing, so obviously there's that. He's pretty talented, so there were certain things that, like, obviously would draw me to him, but then after talking and kind of being together a lot, I was just like, yeah, I don't want to be with anybody else. And then from there, it was like, as you get closer to the 6 month or 1 year mark and you're dating and stuff like that, and then you start to have scuffles or you have arguments about things. I was like, I don't remember in previous relationships coming to an obstacle like that and thinking it's worth sticking it out. I know that sounds really mean, but but with him, I wanted to make it work. Everything that a roadblock came up and we were going to get through it.
Yeah, like when you met his family. Like,
well, so no, do you remember the first time I met you?
I do, because what I was going to say is I'm not going to say I knew that she was the one. But I remember the first time I met you. Was here.
Yes.
You were picking up a chair.
Yes,
a
rolly chair.
And I remember thinking, I even said something to Madeline about it. I was like, there was something up there. There's something there's something there. Because I don't think y'all were dating. I think you're friends or whatever. But I knew then that there was something up. I remember. Yeah. You
were right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we met at Ben Shapiro, I think. At the U of M.
I do remember
Went
that.
to Cookout.
It all runs together, the timeline for me. But I do remember. But even then, like the Ben Shapiro thing, I felt like I had known you for a long time.
Yeah.
You fit.
Yeah.
You know? And then, like, you fit even with our whole Christmas picture thing.
Yes. I was about to say the Christmas pic.
So for those that don't know, annually, I still force the children, they're all, mostly adults now, to come to the Wolf Chase Mall to the Santa Claus that smells like alcohol and take a family photo together every year. It's like we go get a
It's
family
fun.
ornament and we get a family Christmas picture, right? And so as they've gotten older now, it's interesting because they have significant others. And like the real test with our family is if you get in the Christmas picture,
set.
you're in.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting bled in the mob or something.
It's done
like
deal.
Yeah, you're with us. So
It's a sacred event.
It
in my
is.
opinion.
It is. We take it very seriously.
yes. To get in that picture is stressful.
So that first Christmas, y'all were going to the mall and y'all were gonna do some Christmas shopping, and so we had just started dating. It was fresh, and you were like, come to the mall with us. Well, I ended up holding everybody's like bags and stuff and watching y'all take this picture, and I was like, I'm like, I will be in this picture someday. Like this is my goal.
Yeah.
So I took it seriously too, because I had to wait like several Christmases.
Well, you got in. You got in it. You made
I
it.
did. I was in the Christmas picture this past Christmas. So.
Congratulations.
Yay me. It was an accomplishment, honestly. Check that off the bucket list. So.
Yeah.
And this year.
So I'm sure you've had old people like me trying to give you various pieces of advice
Yes.
as you approach this special day this weekend, of course. Has anything struck a chord with you that anyone's told you that you think's of value? Or have you been told anything that's ludicrous? Either or.
I've been told all the cliches.
The happy wife, happy life is probably the best one that I've heard.
All the jokes. Well, you better get used to it. You're gonna be letting her have her way the rest of your life.
Yeah, you would be
and-
surprised at how many people are kind of negative when it comes to.
A lot of
They're like,
people-
"Oh,
Yeah,
you're
a
getting
lot of
married?
people are
Sucks."
negative.
A lot of people.
The
And-
old ball and chain.
Yeah.
It makes you kind of, I don't know, you don't want the negativity. You kind of laugh it off, but then you're like, they're kind of being serious.
Well, I'm going to give you my 2 cents
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't really gotten to corner both of you yet, okay? And I am definitely not an expert on marriage
You have some
or
experience.
relationship. However, I have real world experience in that I've been married twice, and I do many, many, many divorces
Right.
and have seen people try to work it out and not and whatnot. And I think that the one component that people miss is that you both are going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So like Mackenna, you're in love with him right now, and he's in love with you right now. And you can stay in love, but you've got to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for instance, with me and your mother, one of the things that happened was we were growing as people, but just not together.
Right.
We were growing into different people. And I always use the analogy. I used to think it was, say you're 2 boats in the ocean and you want the boats going the same direction. But what I've learned is, no, you need to be on the same boat.
Yeah.
You got to get off that boat and get on the boat. And it takes work. And that's the hardest part, because there's going to be days when you guys are exhausted and the new wears off and you're coming home and you just want to sit and read a book or play the Xbox or do whatever it is that you want to do, a personal thing that you want to do. And this other person hasn't seen you, or maybe they've also been working, or they've been at the house, or whatever. These issues come up, and you have got to put them first. And it's hard. It's hard to do. So I love being married. Like I enjoyed being married with your mother, and I'm very blessed to be married to Madeline. And kind of like the things you say, I reiterate. So I'm the opposite. I think marriage is great.
Yeah.
I've even told Josh over there that's all negative how he needs to consider it. But what I think people don't get, marriage is not for selfish people. If you are super, super selfish, or even people that maybe aren't and aware of it, it takes daily work to stay focused on that other person. And as long as you can keep that in mind, and every day you're going through it, trying to, what can I do to try to make their day a little better? What can I do? What did they do for me today? We've talked about the love language thing before. So, that's the only thing I would tell you is just make sure that every day you're analyzing what can you do to be closer with this person and stay close to that person. And I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're both very emotionally mature for your ages. I think you're both super intelligent. You're both kind-hearted, good people. I think you're going to do fine. He's got just enough of me in him to protect you, I think.
Enough.
Yeah, and I'm ready for grandkids. So
we'll be ready for a couple more years,
No
I guess.
response. We're both like,
Yeah.
me too.
I know,
Not
I know.
grandkids,
That's
but-
the only point of contention right now, right?
We don't have to
Just
talk
sit
about
over
it.
there and be ready.
That was one of the no topics we were probably not supposed to bring
okay,
up.
okay.
No, I'm kidding. It's not
Okay.
a sore subject.
No, I think we both agree that when the time is right, we will have kids. but-
Yeah, we're not.
And
in a
you all are.
rush.
I just want to make sure we get it on this recorded on the air here, that the child is going to be a martial arts prodigy. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. 'Cause
A little-
I'm
Yeah.
seriously debating taking one of the rooms that we have free at the house there and turn it into like a legit padded dojang so that I can train this child into.
Yes.
Cool.
Like Daniel LaRusso on Cobra Kai. He turned a room in his house into a
Yes,
dojo.
only I'm better than him. So
Yes. Us two are going to make an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah, we were really coordinated.
Yeah, we're both real big athletes. That's our strengths.
One of us might be.
well, you both have some athletic qualities, but
Yeah.
you are
We're
very artistically talented.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now that you're going to be around more, Mackenna, you could be in some of these great local productions. That we
absolutely.
have.
Yes.
Yeah, you could direct and all
The
kinds of
rough
stuff.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or wherever. There's other ones around.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be working in Memphis, right? Well, you want to tell us about that?
Sure.
About what that is and what the job entails
Yeah.
and the nonprofit?
Yeah. So I was offered a job at Loveworth Finding Ministries in Memphis. So kind of just a past with the CEO and his wife, just knowing them, good family friends. The CEO, Carrie Vaughn, is my parents' pastor, and then his wife, Lelania, is the fine arts director at Tipton Rosemark, which is where I graduated. And so just having that relationship kind of opened some doors there. So he approached me a little while ago about a job. And so then I accepted a job as his executive administrator. And so I start when we get back from the honeymoon. I'm really excited. Nonprofit work. I'm excited to work in ministry and with people. So it'll be a good change of pace for me, I think.
So what does the nonprofit do?
So Loveworth Finding is kind of the love child of Dr. Adrian Rogers, if you're familiar with Dr. Rogers, in his ministry. And so it's kind of a broadcasting system and a networking place to just kind of share the gospel globally. And so they do that electronically, and they do that with newsletters and publishing, that kind of thing. It's kind of a broad spectrum of things, but it's a ministry developed by Dr. Rogers. And so
Does it televise the sermons and stuff? Is it the
and
same
so
way?
they'll broadcast like his sermons, and then they do like a daily like a love letter, and so they do like a daily devotional email, that kind of stuff. And so
Yeah, so when we were in Nashville for his album that we did a few weeks ago, I met she's now the sort of co-owner, but was the producer of TBN, Trinity Broadcasting Network. And it was interesting because I had never thought about how in that realm, a lot of it, like the publications, the radio, the TV, the albums, all that
Yeah.
stuff is all this one company is
yes,
doing all of it.
yes,
And that's what the Nashville people I talked to, they're very nice, but
Right.
I had never realized
Right.
that. So I didn't realize that that's what he did.
yeah. So outreach is kind of really broad nowadays, especially with social media and that kind of thing. So you're able to reach more people groups and more regions, more areas in the world. And so it's kind of cool to see the way that technology has developed, the way to reach people and that kind of thing. So it's cool.
Well, clearly this is one of the greatest Christian talk shows available. So
It's a
I don't know
cleanly.
about that.
It's a cleanly one. It's family friendly.
I mean, Jesus probably might have tried bourbon, maybe. He'd at least tried it, maybe. That's a joke. No, you don't kill me. All these people I say that. They're
We're
gonna
glad to trailblaze.
yeah, right. To bring a little purity.
I've stopped drinking as much bourbon. I'm trying to be better.
We're proud of you.
I've been going to the church under the tree thing.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle for me because that for me has been real good because I've always made all these arguments against organized religion. And Mr. Ed's thing destroyed those arguments because it's just as Jesus did it. You literally
Yeah.
go to where, like the last time, I didn't get to go this past weekend because of Madeline's thing, but the weekend before we were there, and I had a woman walk across during his little sermon thing telling me that I had arrested her as a cop. There was another guy across the street cussing at Ed while he was trying to preach, and then there were two rival gangs sitting on different sides of at the picnic tables waiting on this one boy that we had there who was just trying to sit and enjoy the food and the fellowship. And I was like, that's my world. Like, that's
Yeah.
great because that's real. Those
Yeah.
are all real people.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, I actually am listening and trying to learn when he gives the sermons, and some of them touch home real well for me. So it's making me struggle,
Struggle. That's a good thing, though.
Good.
I guess.
That's
You
a
say
good thing.
good.
That's a good place to be in. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Anyway, so if anybody's interested, Church Under a Tree. It's 3:00 every
Shameless
Sunday.
plug.
Yeah, and the Frazier Park. It doesn't cost anything. There's food. You just show up, and whoever shows up.
I love that. I love the
yeah.
vulnerability of that.
Yeah, it's good time. Good
Yeah.
times. Good
Yep.
times. So honeymoon Sunday. We're leaving. Where are you going?
Saturday. No, Sunday.
Sunday?
Wow.
Saturday we're getting
Sorry.
married.
Yeah, my bad. Sunday we are flying to Sanibel Island, Florida.
Sanibel Island. I've never been there.
It's outside
Is
of
it in the
Fort
Keys,
Myers.
or where is it
it's
now?
I mean it's southwest, but
Uh-huh.
it's outside of Fort Myers.
Sweet. You
The
did research on all
Captiva,
that.
Naples area. Yes.
Where y'all going? A
Yes.
week? Good. Y'all need to
6
try to
days.
relax and enjoy it.
A whole
That
week?
was the whole point. No, we're gone for 6 days.
Okay.
So we'll fly out Sunday and come back Saturday for those
Good.
wanting to
Just
know.
enjoy the time, stress free as you
Yes.
can, and have
Yes.
fun, and then you come back to real life again.
Yes, absolutely. But we're excited. It'll be a nice relief,
little
you
buffer.
know, given the week we're having and stuff like that. So
Yeah, they're looking because Brian's dancing. He's twerking on Josh, and y'all can't see it. And he's
that's
drinking.
awesome. I didn't know
Just
you could move like
alkaline
that.
Water.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that alkaline water?
Are you impressed by his dance skills?
Good,
Is that what
good
you
for
said?
your kidneys. Yes, I didn't know he could move like
He
that.
just looked like a white guy trying to dance.
Because it
It's
is.
the general white guy dance. Look.
Brian.
It's called a white man's
You,
right.
you come here often?
Bring that energy Saturday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since we talked about what you're going to do, Austin,
Yeah.
let's talk about what you're going to do.
Okay.
All right. So you've been clerking with us, and you clerked with us last summer, and then now you're clerking with us again, and you're debating going to law school. Now, obviously, I'm very excited that you're going to law school because it's
You
kind
tried
of
to
it's
convince
kind of
us.
like I had always wanted one of the kids to step up and run the taekwondo school.
You tried to convince me.
Yes. Well, I think you'd be good at it.
Thank you.
You're very charismatic, and you have good people skills.
Don't do that to her.
But so what made you make the decision to do law school, Austin?
Well, the initial decision was based on the removal of a financial barrier. But after that, and then kind of working this summer, not only is it fun to practice law and to practice the kind of law that we do here at Huff and Mason, but it's fulfilling, I think. And I'm just excited, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to work this summer, and I'll have the opportunity to work these next 3 years and kind of have 5 whole years under my belt in all the court systems, in front of all the judges, picking the brain of you and Dave and Brian. And I'm just excited to be in that world, to be a part of the being attorney, crossing the bar,
Yeah, so you had said something once before that really meant a lot to me, whether you meant to or actually meant it, where, because, I've gotten some pushback from certain people sometimes about being a criminal defense lawyer, right? And I take it somewhat personally because I fervently believe we're not only guaranteed under the Constitution, but essential through the course of justice. I think we have to exist. And if not, there's tyranny, honestly. I mean, that's how passionate I am about it. But I knew that sometimes you got flack from folks over it. And then you made the comment, I'd have been on here, matter of fact, at one point, about how your eyes had been opened a little different on how we do what we do. So elaborate on that a little bit.
Well,
for
it was
me.
one
I'm curious to hear
It was one client, really, because obviously in criminal defense work, you do have the criminals. And, they did do a crime. They are guilty.
Allegedly.
Well, allegedly. And more or less, you are a liaison, The facts are against them. The reality of the situation is against them, and you're a liaison. But there are the cases, and this is the case even with people that, maybe did something, but it was just, they messed up, and it was their worst day of their life. It was the worst thing that's ever happened to them. And there was a kid that came in here. He was 17, facing something for being intoxicated, like is it DWI or something like that.
Maybe.
And he came in and he had a water cache in his hand, and he was shaking like this, shaking. And he said, "I need to talk to the Kickin lawyer." And I walk into the front of the lobby, and I see him talking to Molly at the front desk, and he is scared to death, terrified. The worst thing that's ever happened to him has happened. He's coming in here for help, and nobody at that time except for you is going to be able to calm him down and tell him that this isn't the end of your world. This isn't the end of your life, and that is more noble than most things everybody does every day, I think. So that's kind of my piece on it. Is there is a nobility that you don't see. You get the label that, well, you're a criminal defense, you're crooked, you're trying to, slip through the cracks and all this. It's like, no, we're trying to help these people to the best of their ability, to the best of our ability within their constitutional rights. And that's what we do. And that's kind of my take on it. because I
Yeah.
did struggle.
Yeah, well, that means a lot to me because it's one of those things where until you've walked the day in those shoes, it's a very difficult. There's a lot of things like that in life. That's why I try to not jump to judgment on other things that are controversial that we won't talk about. But until I've walked a day in those shoes, you really don't know. You know, it's easy for people to say that this is wrong or that is wrong or well, I would do da da da, and I would do. You don't know till you've been there. Right. And I said the same thing. I had a similar epiphany with Brian when. One of the first cases I dealt with him, and because Brian will remember one of the very first times that I went with you anywhere, we went to the prison over there. It was open in Mason, and we visited that guy. He was accused of pretty shady stuff, and he was guilty. And anyway, and Brian's like, we get out of there, and this guy looked like literally if you looked up pedophile in encyclopedia, is this guy's picture, right? Cool. And I was still thinking like a cop, feeling like a cop, and I was like, how can you even defend this guy? Like. Why? How? He's so creepy and so this and that. And you know, you have those struggles.
Right.
But at the same time, we have people come in that, you know, it is the worst day of their life. And sometimes they are innocent, you know. Now, yeah, majority of the time, maybe they did something. But even sometimes when they did something, they might not have done what they were charged with. And then even more so, they still have rights. Right. They're humans.
Right.
You know, and it's like why I say, again, I circle back on the whole with Jesus. Jesus went to the sinners. You know, Jesus, he didn't go to these people that are already like saints. You know, he went to the people that are really struggling, and that's what we deal with a lot of times. So, and we just try to help them as best we can, you know. And if I really believe that the justice system, if I do my job fervently, if the district attorney does their job fervently, justice is going to hopefully reign, right? And but it is a lot of weight on us. You know, I lose sleep a lot over some of these cases. You know, I got one right now I just met with. That I'm going to lose sleep. Brian, do you lose any sleep over the cases?
Not anymore.
Well, that's what people ask me. They're like, well, you're trying to...
You've been doing this long enough.
You're trying to get them off or whatever. And it's like, really, in all reality, justice will, like you said, reign. Right. In all reality, you know, the facts are the facts, and and it will be what it's going to be.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when there isn't a difference in how aggressive I litigate a case, whether they're guilty or innocent. Like if I know that they did or didn't do it, I'm still going to aggressively do it. Sure. What's difference is the personal stress load. You know, if we go to trial with somebody and we really feel they're innocent, that does weigh on you. Versus if you go to trial, you work just as hard over it, you know, but...
We've had a few of those.
Yeah. I mean, it does happen.
Trials, even if you're going into it from a standpoint of, they did something, they're still stressful.
Yeah.
But it's even more stressful when you're dealing with somebody that didn't do it.
Right.
Or is accused of a lot more horrible things than what really happened, that sort of thing.
What do you think, Mackenna, about him being a lawyer?
Well, I support him completely, and then whatever he decides as far as what law he would like to practice, I'm supporting. But I just think it's important that people have an advocate. And so if you have that perspective, that viewpoint has helped me a lot as far as like coming to terms with some of the things that he'll have to do or maybe have to see and that kind of stuff. So in understanding that everybody deserves the right to be defended in that way, I don't have a problem.
Well, that's the keystone term is rights.
Well, yeah, like
our system,
you have rights.
You have rights
so
within our system.
I look at, well, specifically like defense attorneys as advocates. And so it's like somebody needs somebody, regardless of the action or the decision made, those people still deserve to have somebody walk with that through them or walk with them through that. Well, I don't mean that sappy, but for real, like, and I put myself like in the shoes of the kid who came in with the wad of cash. Like that's really like, that's tender. Like, so I just think about the vulnerability of being in the place to ask for help. Like you need help.
A lot of people don't understand that it's not the money.
Yeah.
You do a lot of
right.
stuff for free.
Right.
Pro bono.
Especially Brian.
Brian has a big heart.
I say wad of cash because he had it crumpled up in his hand.
Well, what I mean by that is just like, well, I just think that kid, he just needed help. And so again, there is certain ability.
Brian had never gotten paid until he let me take management of the firm. Never got a check. There's no telling how much free pro bono. I mean, it's probably a record, the amount of pro bono work he had done.
But like Brian has a big heart.
He likes to act like he's all
He's
tough,
a
but he
giver.
does.
Yeah, Brian's.
You
not
know, that's
tough.
why he and I work well together in our not gay at all relationship.
Your marriage. There's
Yeah.
balance in your marriage.
Is that I have his back and he has my back too. I mean, and we do complement each other. There's areas where I'm weak and he's very strong and vice versa. And I think we saw that. And that's why we try to, as we build lawyers here, bring people in that help fit weaknesses. So.
Well, all the partners are different for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
So let's ask that real quick, okay? Then I'll come back to a question from Mackenna. So you've had experience now with me, Brian, and Dave. Not Kim as much, but me, Brian, and Dave. So give me a synopsis of the experience with the three of us.
Kind
So,
I'm just kidding.
technically speaking, on paper, you're all three my boss. But Dave is really my boss. So Dave, I spend the majority of my time with. Anything I'm doing or anything I'm assigned to do is most likely assigned to me by Dave. And Dave, I've just learned, is just kind of like an encyclopedia of the order of operations of everything in the court system and all of these court systems. Because, you know, he was a PD here. He worked in Somerville in a private practice for a while. And, you know, he worked in New Orleans. I mean, he just...
Dave has done a lot.
Yeah. Went to Wharton. I mean, he's just kind of a whiz in all this. And so I try to be, when I'm with Dave, I try to be a sponge. Not that I don't try to be a sponge when I'm with you two. But he is constantly, unprompted, spouting things that I think are necessary for me to know and for me to lock into my memory. And kind of any question I have, he answers. Where Brian kind of takes the approach of when you're a little kid and you don't know how to swim, he just throws you into the deep end, and you just kind of have to figure it out from them.
Which is good too.
I am you, so I don't really have to learn much about how you operate because we're kind of the same person in a lot of ways. But Brian, if I go to court with Dave, I'm not near as nervous as if I have a day where I'm going to be with Brian, because I know Brian's going to ask me to do things I've never done before.
Play lawyer.
And
That's how you learn.
and that's
Yeah.
fine, because then I know after.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to crap down both legs when he's like, "Hey, go do this." So,
That's how I was taught.
Yeah.
and I haven't
go
really
do
been
it.
I haven't really been in court with you a lot. So,
Or ever.
He's been, back then I think he went a couple of times.
okay.
But it wasn't,
Last summer.
it wasn't as often. And I mean, now the way it's set up, I'm only in court. It's more of a break-in case of emergency type thing, which is fine because I do so much of the admin stuff.
yeah.
Or DUIs, sometimes they bring me in. So anyway, we're all different. Now when we go to trials, which we may have one coming up soon, that'll be a good experience for you because we're all different in trial, but we complement each other. I think that's a good thing to see too, is how we function in trials. So, so Mackenna,
Yes.
we'll circle back to the whole marriage thing.
You like to circle back a lot, don't you?
We
Well,
chase
that was
rabbits.
kind of the original focus here was the
Circle back girl.
holler back girl is what it is, Brian.
But you're a circle back girl.
Sure.
Right.
All right, kids.
Circle back.
It'll be good, it'll be good.
Bye, Brian.
Bye, Brian.
Brian's
That's a
in a
good
good mood.
cameo.
Yeah, cameo by Brian.
Honorable mention.
See ya, Huff.
Yeah. So, of the, I guess let's be more present because I was going to ask you a future question, but let's say of this weekend, what are you most looking forward to, and what are you most nervous about, as far as the
Okay.
wedding?
I am most looking forward to like our first look and seeing each other for the first time on that day, like that. The anxiety's high, the anticipation, and we've been planning for so long, so much blood, sweat, tears, all the stress. And so I'm most looking forward to like the relief I'm going to have just seeing Kim. And so, because, the tradition is like you don't see each other the whole day and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, this is the one person in my life who makes everything chill, who calms me down and talks me off the ledge, that kind of stuff. And so he's the one person I was like, why would I go the entire day, the most stressful day ever? Why would I go that whole day and not see him? And so we're going to do like a little first look. We'll have a moment together, just the two of us, to just kind of breathe before we get everything going. So I think I'm most looking forward to that, just to have clarity and peace of mind before walking down the aisle. And then cons, what I'm not looking forward to, I'm really scared that people won't show up.
I think you're going to have more than enough
I know that
people
seems,
show up.
that's kind of silly, but you
I
plan
think-
for X amount.
I think you're
and
going to have more than you think.
yeah.
Probably more than you invited.
Well,
They'll
I'm
probably
excited.
be there.
I'm excited, and like I said, I want this to be big and fun. And so
It will be. It'll be fine. So look, let me tell both of you something, and then I want to ask you a question about
Okay.
what you just said, because I thought, well, I'll just ask you that, and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
So the question is, I thought the rule was it was bad luck if you saw them before they walked
Yeah, I
up.
think that is. I think like traditionally you're like, oh, it's bad luck if they see the dress or see you in the dress before.
But you're like,
But
I don't
I'm not
care.
superstitious.
Statistically speaking,
I'm
if
just a
people
little
have been
stitches.
abiding by that, 60% of them hasn't worked anyways. So
Right. Like, oh, at all my showers when I tore the bow or something, they're like, that's how many kids you're gonna have. So
Interesting.
I tore like 80 bows, so I don't think that that's gonna, jinx me.
Well, what I was going to tell you is, look, it's going to be fine.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
So like,
That's what they say.
No, but like really think about it. Even if somebody falls down or whatever, it's fine. No, but really, well, it's fine. It's your day.
Yeah.
If people come, great. If they don't, doesn't matter. It's all about you two.
Right.
It's you two and God.
Right.
It's a profession before God that you're taking these vows to be with each other forever. And, you've got tons of family that love you on both sides, and we just want you to be happy and have a great, wonderful life. We're not going to allow you to fail. And then the last thing I would say is make sure as you go along the way, remember what I said about focusing on each other, but don't be afraid to ask for help, too, along the way if something comes up. You're not alone. Y'all have a blessing that some people don't. You've family coming out the rear end that's wanting to be there for you, and we want to be there for you.
Yeah.
So I know you're both getting at phases where you don't want to ask for help, you don't want to do this. Look, I'm begging you to ask me for help. I'm happily married, but my kids, my whole adult life, I've been a daddy, and so now I'm proud of them that they're moving on. But I'm still here.
Right. You're right.
If you need something, and your
Yeah.
mom and dad, I'm sure, is the same
Yes,
way.
they
so.
are. Yeah.
So don't be afraid to ask us. But it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I'm very, very proud of both of you, and I'm excited for you.
We're excited.
Yeah. So we got rehearsal Friday, and Saturday is the big day, right?
Yes.
big day.
Big day. And then Sunday you get to jet out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited. But anything else? Austin, you want to sing us a song?
No.
Okay.
No.
We did have a couple comments, Jerome.
Oh, okay.
Miss Regina said
My mother.
she loves party planning. It's been her pleasure. Our mom, Jerry, Miss Connie Mason, said she loves you both,
Oh, I love you, Nana.
Notice she said she loved both of them, but not me.
but not us. Yeah, not me. And
Which
you.
both? Which both are we referring?
And then Becky says, "So wonderful." So
Great. So the people enjoyed what we did here today.
Racked up three
And one
comments.
of them was Mom and
I gotta
your
go breaking
Nana.
records.
Hey, those of you that are watching, especially if you've made it this far in, don't be afraid to leave comments for them of all this advice, and we'll see down the road. If
But
it's
the positive advice.
well, I mean, sometimes you need to hear the negative too. Like the thing is, like if you analyze train wrecks, you can learn a lot about why they're train wrecks.
Yeah.
And
Fair.
so don't be afraid to look at the bad as well as the
Fair.
good, because I guarantee you these marriages that I'm not taking anything away from these people that have been married like 50 years, right? It's super impressive if you've been married 50 years. However, they didn't have the internet, like 30, 40 years ago, these people, if they were going to run around, you had to go hunting for somebody. Nowadays, you can pick that phone up and in 5 seconds, you got somebody ready to meet you. That's a different world. And that makes it much harder to stay committed and keep your eye on each other. There's so many things to pull you away from each other and away from God nowadays. Like, it's hard. So you've got to be committed to each other every day and refocus on each other every day. And unlike a lot of people that I know very well, like you two, some people I'd be like, Austin, you better not do da-da-da. I'm going to whoop you, boy. But I know I don't have to do that. Like, he's a good dude. He's going to be a good husband and eventually a good daddy. And you're going to be a great wife and a great mother someday. I mean, I'm excited for y'all's future. Literally the world is your oyster, so I'm really excited for y'all to attack it together.
Yeah.
And I thank you for your time, too, coming on
Yeah.
here and talking about
No
weddings
problem.
and whatnot. It was a lot of fun.
More lawyering towards the end there than
That's
weddings,
okay.
It's okay.
Talk about whatever. We avoided certain
about
topics,
you.
though.
We did a great job of winning certain good topics.
It's not over yet.
The next podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow. We're across all social media platforms and podcast platforms. We are on TikTok. If you want to see Austin and me doing a twerk, maybe you can go look over there.
Oh, yeah.
You go to CovingtonComicCon.com. If you'd like to be a vendor, that's coming up in August. We're excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun here in Covington again. Mason's Hiked. Oh, Miss Michelle, my bad. Michelle Allen is our longtime sponsor. She's your go-to realtor if you're buying, selling, renting stuff. And then let me just see what Josh is going to throw up there. All right, Mason's High Octane Martial Arts, located in Covington for almost 30 years. Your go-to if you want to learn to kick, punch, and choke people. It's a good place to get. And then the Cellar is a restaurant Prohibition Bar, located off the square in Covington. Opens at 4 p.m. every day. There's also a brunch on Saturdays. Really good food, full bar menu, lots of fun. And if you want to take your marketing to the next level, holler at old Masonite Digital Marketing. Josh will be glad to help you. So appreciate everybody's time today. Don't forget to like, follow, and share when you guys watch. That helps too, the algorithm, if you just share it across people or make comments. I really appreciate that. Or even just the little like button helps
And
a lot.
subscribe to us on the podcast platforms.
Podcast and YouTube.
Yes,
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast.
All that helps a whole lot. So I appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch it even for a few minutes a day. We really appreciate it. Who's next week, Josh?
Oh, I got to check. It is Mr. Nick.
Yeah,
Sawall.
Nick's running for some, I think for the state rep spot or something.
And then the Tuesday after that is Mr. Greg Phillips.
My dad.
Yay. Then we can talk about post-marriage with him, see how that goes.
See if he still likes us.
I'm gonna ask him all the controversial questions.
Wedding budget.
No, we're not gonna. I know about all that. We're not going to bring that up. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Keep kicking. Thanks for watching, guys. Just remember that this is not legal advice or investment advice or business advice. This is for fun and entertainment purposes only.